It's another week, as it always happens. Like, time moves in a linear fashion.
Or at least our perception of it travels in a arrow-like fashion.
Is it Doctor Strange? Does he manipulate time, or is he just matter? And I don't know what he does. Benedict Cumbersnunt.
Bendy Bin's crumple patch. Yes, he does manipulate time.
Yeah, well, good for him. Unlike him, everybody else has to perceive it, most people, I assume, perceive it in a linear fashion. And as such, we have perceived it straight into June, which is my favourite month, not least because it's my birthday at the end of it, but also it's Pride Month. Everybody's happy and inclusive and, well, we should be all the time, but now this is the month where everybody really steps it up. And in Nottingham, they've painted like rainbows on the roads and stuff. Not all the roads, that would be an insane effort.
What's that track in Mario Kart? Rainbow Road?
Where it's super dangerous and you end up falling off the sides. And what is this? Mushrooms in the middle of the road. What the hell's going on?
Why are people firing shells at me?
Just like from all directions, like, oh fuck. It's
Buses exploding and spinning out and people dying everywhere.
One that only targets first place. It's like, oh, thanks.
On a normal road, how do they decide who's first?
Maybe it would just attack a bus. It's because they're on a route, aren't they? It's like you've reached the end of your route and then just bus just flips over. Like, I hope it's not the one with the Cockleman's name on it.
Someone's ruined me, boss. Or maybe it's the oldest person on the road currently because they're the closest to the end because, like, life is some sort of race to death. That sounds really pleasing.
Some kind of boring car journey and getting stuck in traffic. That is life.
And then shells fire at you for some inexplicable reason, and then you're dead.
Well, I can think of worse ways to go than being hit by a giant shell.
with just the shell and the underside bit, which is kind of like the turtle's chest. So there's no content. The meat has been extracted so they can make a turtle soup of some sort. But they've left just the sort of chest leathery bit and then the shell.
Wouldn't that get like horrendous road burn, especially with UK roads, all the potholes? It would probably veer off course and stuff.
Maybe you could apply some of the grease from the cooking process to lubricate the underside so it spins nicely.
So you get a good old spin on it, like a Beyblade.
Beyblade's now with more turtle death.
Speaking of greasy and oscillating, I rode my bike to Mapley the other week, and those of you who don't know Nottingham, Mapley is up a vertical incline no matter which way you approach it, and my fucking God.
Even when you're leaving it, somehow it's also a vertical climb.
You can never go downhill when you're in or around Mapley. So I did that, and I ended up going to meet Daddy's house because he had a barbecue on, as his namesake suggests, and I proceeded to get very drunk on vodka and tonic because I'm a classy bird. Scene deleted. We ended up at a pub, and then another scene deleted, and I woke up at my house without my bike and without many of my belongings. So I had to walk back to Mapley.
Yeah.
But what I did first was my fiance asked me to dig a trench in the garden, unrelated. And I was sweating so much because I was hungover. I was like, I'll get this out of the way first because this is going to be the hardest thing. No, the walk to Mapley was definitely worse because it had started getting very warm and the hangover was proper sort of like, drilling into your brain. What did you get up to?
Did you get all of your items back?
Yeah, I left 2 disposable barbecues around there from the other week when we went to the Eurovision thing. My bike, obviously, a helmet, the bike helmet. I didn't leave any body parts behind, and just a few foodie bits.
It was a jousting helm.
It makes you really aerodynamic for having to try get up hills.
Pierce the air. It was such efficiency.
Just parts it like the Red Sea.
It's all a nonsense anyway. If you had a helmet on, you wouldn't want a big spike on it because someone could just go, I'm going to grab your spike.
Not without my consent.
Yeah, they'll either take your head off in some fashion or they'll just push you on the floor or something. That's why Vikings didn't have horns on their helmet, because you can be like, I've got a bill hook. I'm just going to grab your head by your horns.
Well, thank goodness we're not Vikings anymore. Did you go out
last
this weekend?
No, I went for a little bit of a tour around, visited the Wipers.
Ah, yes, the Wipers, that pub that my brother used to work at. The Wipers, everyone. Wholesome family fun. Now, speaking of wholesome family fun, should we just roll the intro?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Some sort of horrendous sample-based monstrosity with the generic beat under. Some sort of horrendous sample-based monstrosity with horrendous generic beat. Some sort of horrendous sample-based monstrosity with the generic beat under. Some sort of horrendous sample-based monstrosity with the generic beat under.
Welcome back to Always an Adventure podcast, where quality and quantity are eternally at odds. I'm Sam.
And I'm Alex, and there's always, a certain amount of good effort.
It's always a good effort when it comes to us. That's the best thing that you can say about this podcast. That will be its tagline one day. Good effort.
Indulgent. Good effort. Spinning turtle shells, spinning off into the night. Like a bus spinning out of the road and people flying out the windows as hundreds of turtle shells smash into the side. Bones and sinew and jibs litter the air.
Jibs! Like Unreal when you blow someone up.
Dominating.
And out of nowhere, the Jar Jar cake. Anyway.
On a slightly more pleasant note, Ed asks, where does music go after you've heard it?
Well, other than the obvious into your brain and stays there forever if you're... apparently not if you're me, because look at my 1 second edition bullshit. It retreats to a small hutch, awaiting the time it is next summoned. But, saying that, it depends on the genre of music, I think, because a hutch wouldn't really cut it for, like, pop stars, because they're quite diva-esque, so you should imagine sort of like some kind of palatial thing. Heavy metal would be quite on the nose. It would be a shipping container full of skulls.
Industrial music might be an abandoned foundry of some sort.
A blancmange foundry. I keep saying floundry! What's wrong with me?
Foundry. Yeah.
Those buildings are really cool, is what I was trying to say. What about
points
you?
for
Where do you think that music goes when we stop listening to the music that we listen to?
I think music is far more vindictive, because what it does is, as it sort of emanates out from its source, it's contributing to the heat death of the universe.
Why do you have to remind us of the leet death? The leet death.
Whenever it's 13:37 and I look at my clock and go, oh, it's Leet o'clock.
No more of that because of music, apparently. So this means you have to always be listening to music so it doesn't fuck off and create the heat death of the universe.
Or play more music and spur it on, because...
Everybody listening, put music on right now. I will put some music on in the background of this segment and it will be utterly off-putting. There are your two options, Ed.
What if the little hutch thing is like one of them iceberg houses that they have in London?
The way that you were doing that, I thought, like a collapsible concertina house where you just, I want a 3-story house, just pull it.
When it does that, it makes the sort of noise of someone expanding an accordion, but at the size of a house, so like the whole street rattles.
This reminds me of Donald Trump as someone's put an accordion when he's moving his hands. The internet is a great thing, and now we are part of it as well. And you know what also is part of the internet is Facebook.
Yes.
Facebook swipey McDoodads.
Right, so if you're an avid coin collector, I'm sure this will be a good one for you. So 1976 years, 10 pence, used, VGC, £3, need gone ASAP. Because a coin takes up so much space.
It's just, I need it gone. But he said it's used, so maybe it's like a cursed coin. It's like, well, I've used it now, so the only way to break the curse is to give it to somebody else. That's why it needs to be gone ASAP. Sounds
Cursed
like
money.
Like the fuck tuppence.
What happened to that? Who had it originally?
Listeners/viewers, the fuck tuppence is, was it run over by a lawnmower?
Something like that, yeah. Found
it's
it
just a
outside
2p.
your house.
Yeah, it was probably my dad who ran it over with a lawnmower then. Or me. Or the council. No, I lived on a council estate. They mowed our front lawns for us. They created a legacy, which we then lost.
An Ein Shilling. We lost that for ages, and then it turned up it was in my change pot.
And now I've got you a token from that staff Christmas dude one year, and I got like one of those tokens that's got a cherry on one side and a 1 on the other side. 1 what?
So many.
So it's an antique coin, I'm guessing. Well, not antique. I wouldn't say that 1974, is it?
76, I believe.
It's an Isle of Man 10 pence.
Isle of Man.
Isle of Man. Nobody wants to be associated with the Isle of Man anymore, apparently. Even my aunt and uncles sold all of their property on the Isle of Man. It was like, bye! We're going to go now.
Leave it to the islanders. Bye. Seen in the wild, a Chester drawers, as in, my name is Chester.
And wardrobe, missing bottom drawer, mirrored doors. That's a lot.
Ready to collect.
So it's a white Chester. There's only one Chester I know that's white, and unfortunately he's not with us anymore. So are you saying that he got resurrected through furniture? I'm sure that would be entirely at odds with his rock and roll vision, to be honest. Just keep me dead. Don't resurrect me as someone's bullshit furniture, please. I wouldn't buy those. We really don't need any more furniture. If you saw any of this fucking shit I've got around me outside this green screen, I might actually put it up on the green screen, the picture of all the shit that we've got over there, just for... Here we go, here it is. And there we go.
Hollywood Mirror, not free. free. Message me for info, not free.
I'm so confused. So they've not put a price on it, but it's not free, but they had to list it as free because they couldn't decide on a price. It's not eBay. That's not how Facebook Marketplace works. You clearly list out the terms, and then people go, yes, I want it, or no, I don't want it. You don't just go, it's not free. How much are you willing to offer?
Yeah.
Is that a cursed mirror? Is it all these cursed objects? Is it like the mirror out of Oculus?
They said Candyman into it too many times.
It just throws a tortoise shell out at you. Ah, fuck! Wow, they've took a real close-up of that picture, haven't they?
What do you think this is? Pocket.
I've got one. Look, it works and everything. See? I don't need your fucking pocket. Especially on its own, like not attached to anything. Like, really?
So the title is Pocket in all uppercase. What could it be?
A giant pocket, someone's sewn a pocket. It's like a pouch for something. I don't have any more information to give you other than that.
Boringly, mattresses. 2,000 pocket sprung deep memory foam mattresses.
Bloody hell, I'm being yelled at for it.
Add £30 extra for a divan base. Delivery charge £25.
Super king size. Imagine having a super king size pocket, though. It just encapsulates your entire front of your garment.
If it's a super king size pocket, can you fit a super king size mattress in it?
Let's find out. No, let's not find out. I don't want to spend £249 on a joke.
Not again. Not again. Anyone selling a bundle of boys aged 9, 10 years?
I'm sorry. That can't be legal. That sounds like it should be on the dark web. What the fuck?
Yeah, and someone has actually reacted to it.
Anyone selling a bundle of boys? What did they mean?
They probably mean a bundle of clothes for a 9 to 10-year-old.
But that's not what that says.
No,
that
it's
clearly
not what
says
it says.
a bundle of boys.
They're post an accident in a bus. They've just been sort of amalgamated into a cake.
A jar jug.
A jar jar cake. Reformed chunks.
That makes me feel a little ill. You should be ashamed of yourself. Come on, you should have realised your error. You can edit, you can edit on Facebook. Going from dumb things people say to dumb things people write in the news.
Local news for local people.
In the spirit of what I said earlier with people being able to go out and it being Pride Month, it's actually like an amalgamation of two different articles told at different times.
Is this going to be wholesome?
Well, it depends actually on how conservative you are or aren't, I guess. They were both written by Joseph Locker on Nottingham Post. Oldest gay bar in Nottingham using drag queens to enforce COVID rules.
Okay, good. Appreciating that headline already.
The oldest gay bar in Nottingham, the New Foresters, has been using drag queens as a quirky and rather successful way to enforce coronavirus restrictions. Debbie Law, who has been at the helm of the pub just off Huntingdon Street,
Debbie is known to sometimes scream, "I am the law."
she says, the venue has managed to survive the coronavirus pandemic due to its loyal customers, vibrant atmosphere, and inviting staff. The secret to its success, she says, was the fact it was pretty much a community centre with a liquor licence. However, Debbie says she has come up with an unusual way to keep tipsy drinkers on their toes when it comes down to sticking to COVID-safe guidelines, such as the 2-metre rule and face masks. And that, she says, is done by having drag queens to enforce the rules for her. What I decided to do was to get 2 drag queens who come in at 7 p.m. and they give people banter, but they also enforce the rules. People do not like rules and laws, but if you make it more fun and less serious, people tend to be more well-behaved. Enter Madame Tess Tickles, who has been a drag queen for the past 20 years, and who was donning a sparkling silver dress and dazzling candy floss pink hair when Nottinghamshire Live paid a visit to the pub on Friday evening. By day, she works as a department PA at the Queen's Medical Centre, but by night, she transforms into the spectacular Madame Tess. Despite her enticing looks, Madame Tess immediately... I said Madame Tess. She is...
She's testing your patience.
Despite her enticing looks, Madame Tess immediately made it evident who was the boss, with a piercing whistle which resulted in resounding silence from merry drinkers. Imagine that, just say, this fabulous drag queen comes in and just goes... And then everyone's like, oh, shit. Just puts the glasses down. Yes, we are now paying attention, Madame Tess.
I'm imagining that they're also over 6 foot, like 6.5 foot in heels.
Oh, customers, listen to me. They have no choice to behave. You'll never argue with a drag queen. A customer says, I've been coming here for 23 years. People love it. What, that you've been coming for 23 years? That sounds exhausting. Like, God, people are usually over in a few seconds, but you, 23 years, you need a medal. I'm not sure if people will love that, In my experience, if they aren't your significant other, people don't really like.
People throw away loo roll and then banish you from the house.
Debbie Law said her idea has been going down really well. I don't know why that's in quote marks.
Vienna.
Vienna sausage. No one's going to understand what that means, but eventually we will talk about it and then people go, oh. Debbie Law said her idea has been going down really well with revellers, many of whom are students who come in looking for a laugh. Well, that's a bit mean, isn't it? Because people are like taking the piss out of drag queens.
I think it's more of a looking for a good time.
Oh, okay, because from where I'm from, when you say you're having a laugh, it means are you taking the piss. Sorry, Nottingham. I misunderstood what you meant. She has been at the helm of the pub for more than 20 years, has been a big pioneer for the city's LGBTQIA community. Sorry, I said that slowly because I didn't want to fuck it up. Raising thousands of pounds over the years. Madame Tess has helped host an event to raise money for the Mind Mental Health charity, where more than £1,000 were raised.
Like I said...
Yep, you definitely said that.
A little bit of sick came up with that as well.
Oh.
All right, so on that wholesome note and the charity giving aways and everything, my story is nowhere near as nice. Diner dismayed after finding cigarette butt in dish from Gem of Kent Turkish restaurant in Maidstone High Street.
That sounds awful. I don't like cigarette butts anyway, but finding them in your food. How?
Staff at the Turkish restaurant say they were mystified as to how what appears to be a cigarette butt ended up in the couple's takeaway dinner. There is a picture of this dinner and I'm not entirely sure what it's meant to be, but some of it looks like rice. And then there's sort
just
of
hundreds of cigarette butts so taken up from far away.
And then what clearly looks like a burnt out cigarette butt, just like the filter bit.
I can imagine someone was either smoking whilst cooking or smoking whilst putting it away. It doesn't sound like something that someone would do deliberately because that fucks up your reputation, doesn't it? So
The article goes on to say, well, we're not very happy that we found this in what doesn't particularly look like an appetizing meal anyway.
I would probably have accidentally just eaten it with the meal because I'm basically a human garbage disposal.
It's a pretty grim looking meal, but then also there's a cigarette butt in it which looks like it's burnt all the way down to the filter. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty chewy thing to find in your food.
You got any more disgusting bullshit?
Okay, nightmare on roads. A steam traction engine loses a wheel on the B245 at Hildenborough.
Bloody hell, what's that even doing on the road?
Some people drive them about, and yeah, nightmare.
You can't think of any phantasmagoria worse than a steam traction engine losing its wheel.
The traction engine's called Nightmare as well.
Oh, so they made a pun.
Yeah.
Well, not really a pun, it was just a word. They just made a word. Oh my, that's kind of sad because it looks like a really nice antique vintage thing and it's just all fucked up, isn't it? I really like the plaque on it that says Nightmare. That's some good font.
Reminds me of the font that the band Death used.
It's a real shame that it just inexplicably just went nope. Someone threw a shell at it, that's what it was.
Yeah, the wheel just went, bye, see ya.
It was a gold one. That was the oldest thing on the road, so it went for that. I really hope I'm right in assuming the gold one only goes for first place, because I'll sound like a right if not.
Let's check now. It's just a homing shell.
Okay, it would technically be true if you were in second place. So I'm going to consider that a win. Because if you're not in second place, you're fucking shit at Mario Kart. If you're in first place, you're the best at Mario Kart ever because of the horrible rubber band AI that's just like, nope.
We're trying to make this a challenge, so everything's going to scale in bad ways. Oblivion, that was really awful. Why are these random thieves got like incredibly expensive weapons?
But then they drop the loot. Then it turns out that it has some debuff on it, and you're like, this isn't worth my time. The bullshit gun from Borderlands 2 that screams every time you fire it and makes you slow down to a crawl when you've got it armed and is wildly inaccurate until you continue shooting it. It's fucking awful. It doesn't even do that much damage. I don't mind Borderlands 2 though. It's good fun. My fiance and I really like playing Borderlands co-op because it's one of the few games that you can sit down or look at the same telly and play it, because everything else is like, no mate, it's too resource heavy. Can't make two things happen at once on the same screen. Like, okay. I had to teach my fiance how to move and shoot at the same time because 2 analog sticks is not something that everyone's used to. He was like, for ages. And she's got the hang of it, though.
Yeah, she clearly never played first-person shooters in the late 90s, where you strafe shot everything, otherwise you were dead.
And you could move faster sideways in GoldenEye than you could forwards. Good mechanics there. Speaking of moving sideways quickly, let's move quickly sideways into question 2, where Ginger Bean asks, why is it that they can invent a car that breaks the speed of sound, but can't make my microwave cook food faster?
You can, because a microwave cooks as fast as it can put energy into what it's cooking. So you just get a more powerful microwave and it will cook things quicker.
Yeah, but can it cook as fast as 767 plus miles an hour?
That doesn't make any sense.
That's what she's asking. We're going to have to answer this in a way that she understands.
Can you cook things at the speed of sound? Well, you can cook things with sound.
So maybe that's where we're going wrong. We need to create a device that cooks things with sound. We're going to veer straight into the slapping a chicken to cook it.
I was already thinking it.
That is the future, people. You need to get a slapping machine that cooks all your food for you.
People have made machines that will slap a chicken till it's cooked if you want them to.
Imagine slapping soup, though. It'd just go everywhere like, this soup is hot.
I'm imagining more like it's sort of like a hand that sort of does that. It's got like a boot, and you put it inside of like a cup of soup, and it just flaps away.
Just incredibly quickly until heat happens.
Until the cup or whatever either shatters, is rendered asunder by the hand flapping, or you have hot soup.
Or you could just try throwing a microwave out of the car that goes the speed of sound and see what happens.
If you're going at that many miles an hour and you try and open the window, you won't have a good time.
His head nearly comes off.
His head did come off. It's now merged with a microwave.
That sounds very Reanimator for some reason. Although head in microwave also reminds me of the remake of Last House on the Left. A guy gets his head shoved into a broken microwave and he turns it on and his head explodes.
It's fair dramatic license there because your head wouldn't explode that quickly. Your mouth and your eyes and all the sort of watery, fleshy bits would start to cook on the outside. It would get your brain as well. It'd basically cook you. It'd be a pretty horrible way to go.
The two elements I don't want to be killed by are fire and water. Probably the most. Dirt, yeah, you suffocate, but I think I'd be more okay with it than being burned alive on balance. You know, it's still a horrible way to go. With the microwave thing, just get a more powerful microwave. But at some point, you need a microwave so big and so powerful that you turn it on and just take out the street's grid immediately. Like, oh, sorry, everyone, I was just cooking dinner in 1 second. If you heat bread up in a microwave, it just becomes a soggy mess.
Is it called the Maillard reaction? Is what makes things tasty, and it also is fancy chemicals which taste good. Yum, yum, very nice in my tummy. That doesn't happen when you microwave things because it doesn't get hot enough. Microwaves enter the bread and it heats up the molecules, and it just happens to be that the moisture is the thing that boils, and so you get soggy but also somehow dry bread.
Have you ever had a microwave cheeseburger? They're quite depressing. Don't leave them in the packet because they'll just shrink wrap the whole thing.
And straight in the bin.
And then it melts the bin. You're like, for fuck's sake. This never-ending tower of bullshit is just creating more and more chaos as it goes along.
And a supersonic car drives by and breaks all your windows. Sonic boom is how as it goes by. Just a sonic boom.
It actually says that. A sonic boom, could it really last 1 second? And if it could you recognise it as a sonic boom?
Yes. All right, are you ready? Are your ear holes ready? Are you primed? Are your loins girdled? All right, feast. There is another theme. A theme which you may appreciate or you may not.
Oh boy, can I just have that again, please? It sounds like a panpipe music almost. Oh no, is it a recorder that's playing the song?
It might be.
Is that the start to Born Slippy by Underworld?
No, but good effort. No,
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. Next. Oh god. There's also a piano and a flute as well.
Yeah, it's flute work, yeah.
Oh, this is going to be tough, isn't it? Okay, can I have that again? No, it's probably not that.
Should go with that.
I can't remember what that song is, even if it was a song. You know, I just did a sort of ditty, and I was like, I don't know what that is. I might have just made it up. I might have just started like humming the next bit.
Yeah, you did actually start humming the tune.
Oh God, I did. What is the name of that song? Like, come on, Sam. What's that tune in your head? What? Come back. Don't come out from your hutch. Give it to my brain.
Yeah. So it's that on the tip of the mind's tongue kind of thing where it's like, it's familiar, but your memory's not quite connected to it.
Just the tip. We will come back to that and I'll fucking kick myself because I clearly know the tune, but I don't know what the song is. Got him. Ghost Town by The Specials? Okay, no.
Good guess, but no. It's really obvious if it keeps playing.
Jesus. It's like, these are so familiar. It's like, I probably know the real version of this, and because of that, it's just really... No, I don't... I'm sorry.
All right.
Oh, come on. Is it Hungry Like the Wolf?
No.
No, okay. Fuck, just go on then. Give it to me again. See if I can figure it out. I don't know why I listened into my microphone like that was somehow going to help.
Because you're doing so terribly, I'm going to give you another second of that one.
Should know that, shouldn't I? Fucking... I'd like to blame how hot it is in here, but that is a very British thing to do. It's because I'm shit at this. This sounds like such a really good round as well. I'm enjoying it. It's not like last week I was really fucking struggling because I was like, I don't know what this is. But this, there's so many familiar little bubbles appearing in my brain and going, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. Do you know what the name is? No. Okay, well, try this. No, okay. Even though you actually broke the rules for me, just to give me a hand.
Breaking the law.
And I still shit the bed.
Penultimate one. Let's see if you can redeem yourself in this one or maybe the last one.
I'm sorry, it's just the do. Oh, I've got to get at least one, haven't I? Come on.
I'm hoping you'll get the last one or this one. Hopefully you'll get one of these.
What was that? Another second of it? Blog.
No, it's me dropping my coaster.
Oh, please. Why is my brain doing this? You're fucking loving this, aren't you, you bastard?
It was this point that Sam's brain oozed out of his nostrils.
I had it in the microwave for too long. I'm really sorry. We're just going to have to move past that one.
All right.
This intro to Game of Thrones.
No.
Well, it's 6 for 6. Sam has done a terrible job this week.
Is this like when someone gets 7 balled, do you have to get naked or something?
I'm disappointed in myself. I really thought the last one was going to be the 20th Century Fox flute thing as a joke.
Serious pop music, but done on, say, like a flute. All right, so this one, I'm going to play you the last one because it's queued up already, but this is Wrecking Ball.
So I would have got that if I heard that for like a second more.
Anyway, back to the beginning. Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John. The one you hummed and you couldn't remember what it was called, Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
Classic fucking song. I'm sorry, Freddie.
Hotel California by the Eagles.
I'm so disappointed in myself.
You should be. Just Dance by the old Gagas. And finally, Killing Me Softly with his song.
God damn it!
Because you didn't get any of them, I'm going to play them all at the same time.
That was more of a reward than if I actually got it. Oh my fucking god. That is how you get past copyright striking. Playing them all at the same time. Oh my fucking god. I'm sweating even more through laughing now than well, fair enough, you've made me sweatier. That was my punishment. This is the first week I got 0, but that was fucking worth it if my punishment was having to hear them all at the same time. Kind of reminds me of, I think I've said it before, at the end of Chaosphere by Meshuggah, where at the end of the song Elastic, they play all the songs at the same time in their entirety. So there's like 7 minutes of horrible noise. My fiance's just texted me saying, someone pooed behind our back door again. It wasn't me. I'm here. Like,
Again?
there's a homeless gentleman or lady that sleeps in their little alcove at the back door of their shop. And one day she went outside to find a freshly coiled poo outside. Someone is imitating Plops, lad. They're out there doing shits.
Talking about plops and digestive systems in general, Crack Elf asks, do ants fart?
I haven't been near one long enough to find out personally, but it might explain why there's a really strange smell coming from our back garden, because there's a lot of ant hills out there. I like to think that they've got somewhere in which to release air.
I had a look up of this, and since they have a digestive system, I don't see why they wouldn't fart.
What is their arrangement, though? What's their digestive arrangement? Because pigeons can't fart, they just shit.
I don't think they have the same sort of one hole for everything kind of setup of a bird.
We can certainly infer that they fart, but we couldn't say for sure, and we can't ask one because their mouths are too tiny for our microphones to pick up.
Probably their buttholes are really tiny, so the farts would be really quiet as well.
Unless they all gang up and like all 1,000 odd of them just fart at the same time, and it might just be like...
They're probably going to be like when a dog farts. It's more of a... But
and
just...
fucking stinks as well. Everyone walks out the room coughing and spluttering.
Someone throws up immediately.
That reminds me, like, my mate was at a barbecue. He stood up to go to the toilet and farted at the same time as this guy turned to him and breathed in to say something. And he just breathed in the fart as it came out of it, fresh out of his bumhole, and then threw up. Because you would, wouldn't you? You would just throw up if the fart went straight into your lungs. Like,
the fact that also he turned to that person's direction, turned his arse in their direction to fart at them as well. That's pretty
I think
grim.
it was just incidental of, like, because they were both sitting on a low wall, so he got up and his arse was at their head height, and the guy just turned around to say, "Where are you going?" And just as he turned away to go to the... So they were turning at the exact perfect time, and then the gas came, and then his mouth, and then the sick, and...
Disgusting to say the least. Before we move on to the story time, let's ask ourselves this question. Assuming that ants do fart... Sorry, it's the lunacy of this question. It's just getting to me. Oh no, it's happening again. How many ants would it take farting in your mouth to make you sick? How many ants would you have to fit into your mouth for them all to be able to fart in your mouth and then you throw up, expelling the ants and their fart gases?
I think you'd actually have to be almost swallowing the ants for that to even happen, and then you'd end up gagging on ants rather than their gassy leavings, to be honest. I would say a lot, at least 100.
Is there a way that you could feed them certain things so they become extra gassy?
Other ants?
Ground up ant paste. What about beans? Give them a nice healthy bean sandwich.
That one bean sandwich will fill several colonies' bellies, so you've got lots of opportunities to grab those gassy ants. Construct some kind of tube or... Yeah, just like pouring them into your own mouth.
I was thinking more ladling them in.
3, 2, 1, and breathe in.
My throat is full of gassy ants.
So before Alex explodes into giggle fits again, let's try and bring the mood down to a level where he's slightly bored with my story time, okay? Just doing a shit. This one heavily involves you as well.
Yes. Whoops.
This happened on the 9th of June, 2012, which is almost exactly 9 years ago to the day.
What? It was 2012?
Now, this is something of an always an adventure origin story, in a way. Basically, this is the kind of shit you and I used to do all the time when we both lived in Kent. Go somewhere on a whim, have a memorable, oftentimes chaotic time. In this instance, we decided to jump on a train and go to Brighton. That was the entire plan.
We took the coastal train, didn't we? Which is surprisingly inexpensive.
It takes its time, but boarding at Ashford International at 9 a.m, we were buzzing with way too much excitement for such an early hour. As the train stopped at Rye, a familiar soul boarded, our good friend Hedge. She had an all-nighter and was not entirely on our level of childlike glee. Probably just wanted to get away from us and be alone, to be honest. However, as the journey wore on and conversation became less stilted, she seemed to meet our level of enthusiasm, eventually deciding that tagging along was just what the doctor ordered. We alighted in Brighton to find that, mercifully, the pleasant weather had followed us the entire way and was there to stay. We took to the streets, taking the city's various sights and impressive spray-painted murals, as well as the less impressive ones that almost seemed to openly mock the former. Remember, there was one where there was a stick man that just... it just looked rubbish. It's like, what message is this art? And that was right next to this beautiful portrait of a woman's face with like rainbows and shit coming out of it, which looked like it took hours. And then there's this fucking idiot that's just scribbled something next to it. Like, we quickly realised that none of us had eaten anything substantial for a while, so sought a pub that would accommodate these needs, just shy of 11 a.m. So it was really more brunch than breakfast. So pubs don't tend to open until after 11 a.m. So we really did struggle to find a place for absolutely ages. So we ended up going to one we passed at least 3 times. It's called the Mash Tun.
Did we eat in there?
We did. The thing is, it's not known for its food, as we were very quickly about to find out. We ended up ordering burgers, which were on the pricier side, if I recall, and weren't exactly blown away by the decidedly store-bought aesthetic. It was just like, here we go, fuck off, here we go, and put some salad on it.
It's not the most basic meal I've ever had at a pub. There's a place I went to, I can't remember what it's called, in Margate, and this place was pretty simple. So we ordered some food and they had like very, very basic fare. It was like pie and mash kind of stuff. And it came on a paper plate and the pie looked very generic pie. And the mash was very insipid. It's just the whole meal was insipid looking.
That does remind me as well, to deviate even further from this story, disappointing pizza I had around the 2012 Olympics time, the opening ceremony, because it was on the massive telly, at the Checkers. Is it High Holden? They just started doing takeaway pizzas, style pizzas, and they served it in a pizza box that looked like it. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool, we get it. Yeah, half an hour later it came. Even though they must have made it there, they couldn't have just like ordered it in from somewhere, because nobody in Kent would give us a pizza this disappointing. Not only were all the toppings pretty much on one half of the pizza,
yeah,
the pizza itself was not round, which you can forgive if the toppings are nice, but the toppings, the chicken on it were these little cubes that were kind of really tough, like they'd been overcooked. There was very little cheese on it, and the sauce tasted stale. I've never been as upset by a piece of food as I was for that pizza. Like, we waited for so long, and it just comes out, and it's just this awful, awful piece of shit. But the burgers at the Mash Tun were not that bad. They were edible. We hungrily tucked into the burgers anyway. Food is food, after all. Hedge opted out of this disappointing burger meal, looking on as we inhaled greasy meat slabs bookended with carbs. We burned off our brunch by embarking on a scenic stroll to the beach, passing through the lanes en route. Walking through the narrow alleys reminded me there wasn't a great deal that appealed to me there, save for the odd food outlet. It was mostly jewellery shops, actually. Still, it's one of Brighton's attractions, as it were. So we were ticking at least one thing off the list of shit to do in Brighton. So it's kind of nice to walk down. It's just the shops are like generic. Actually, I say that. There's a really good bespoke cake shop I remember seeing there. They had a Harry Potter cake that looked probably nicer to look at than it did to eat.
It wasn't a paintballing custom cake.
I bet that tasted delicious.
Tastes like a ghillie suit.
We finally arrived at the cobbled beach and quickly found an ideal place to rest up.
Cobbles are the things that you make a road up with.
Okay, so what is it? Shingle? What do I call this? Brighton's beach. What is it called?
What do you call beach?
Alex is Wikipedia what to call a beach. Scottish cobbles, 50-80 black. Yeah, the same fucking thing. They look exactly the same. I'm going to take a screenshot and show you what I've... Fuck you.
It just seems a bit of an upstate New York term for a pebble beach is all.
I was technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. But you were also technically correct, which is also the best. Basically, we were both right. Shall we move on?
You're the first and probably only human I will ever meet that will call a pebble beach a cobble beach.
You're welcome. We arrived at the beach and quickly found an ideal place to rest up. The clement weather had brought people out in droves, as expected. Yet it didn't feel too crowded, though I suppose it was still quite early on. We entertained the notion of going to the pier, but ultimately decided it wasn't worth the crowds of idiots that were quickly amassing. Plus, looking at the rather rusted and hazardous rise didn't exactly fill us with confidence, least of all an understandably apprehensive Hedge. To that end, we decided to go for a pint. I think it was at the Wetherspoons, wasn't it? The student pub.
I think we started off in a Spoons, yeah.
Yeah. The great start to any drunken day out, Wetherspoons.
A lunchtime pint, which dissolves.
It fucking dissolved our evening, didn't it? Christ. It transpired to be the best decision that day, though arguably led to a much worse one. But more on that in a bit.
Oh boy.
So, with a couple of pints in us, we did some more sightseeing, chiefly wandering around the visually appealing pavilion gardens. Groups of people were having picnics all around, and the vibe was very, one may say, typically Brighton-esque, which, I mean in the best possible way, of course. People were walking and chatting between groups, and even squirrels were openly welcomed rather than treated as a nuisance. I actually saw someone feeding a squirrel some of their snacks. We headed toward the next pub, which turned out to be your typical sports bar with tiny men running around on a huge telly whilst loads of blokes yelled at it. We were somewhat out of our element there, but, the drinks were cheap, so I think that's why we stayed.
Yeah, it's like, why did we choose that place?
I think it was just the next pub, it was just there. It was kind of like, it's really hot outside. We're a tiny bit buzzing from the first couple of pints. We want to carry on this. Anyway, we attempted to get involved with the sports, but didn't really know enough about them to properly engage, so just ended up drinking loads instead. We may have started doing shots at 1 p.m.
Which seems like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, double plus good idea.
One assumes Hedge's hangover had just been sort of blown away by a supersonic car at this point.
After a few alcohol pints and possibly shots, honestly, it's hard to recall. We headed back toward the train station, stopping over at one last pub, the Queen's Head, which is the one right near the station. So
Yeah.
like, we were basically, I think we looked at the train times and were like, we could get another swift half in. We did not get a swift half in, not at all. We had switched to shorts at this point, so we're downing rum and cokes like they were going out of fashion. There may have also been Jaeger bombs, but who's to say for sure, because I really can't remember.
So for a while, to sort of mediate the desire to throw up because you're full of liquid, we would, at a certain point in an evening, in this case, in the mid-afternoon, switch to drinking shorts.
Yeah.
Because that makes perfect sense. Less fluid. Still having fun, make good time liquid.
All I really remember from that pub were the random chandeliers hanging around the place.
Then also some randomers ask us for money on the street.
It's kind of every city has people asking you for change and things like that. So honestly, I think I've just glossed over it. I lived in London for a while and that happens often. As our train time neared, we stumbled across the road and grabbed some tinnies for the journey back. Specifically, the offensively strong Red K cider.
I remember this being your suggestion. It was a bad idea.
Yep, this would turn out to be one of those bad decisions I was on about earlier. Shortly after securing a 4-seat booth, we assumed the role of loud train drunks. What with it still rather early in the evening and all, which no doubt earned other passengers disapproval. Oh well, we were having fun, until things took a slight turn. Alex was looking a little ropey after his first can of Red K because it's tramp fuel.
Yeah, it was a bit of a... We'd been drinking for, I don't know, about 5 hours or so by this point. We'd eaten at 11, but I don't think we'd had anything else.
I vaguely remember crisps, but that's not really substantial.
There's not a lot of things to soak up what was now just a stomach full of booze, and it was a mixture because we'd been on shorts, we'd had beer before, and now we're on this cider which you could strip the paint off a wall with.
Perhaps it was booze coupled with the train's swaying motion, but something evidently disagreed with him. This was made abundantly clear once he inexplicably chundered all over the table, sending recycled booze sloshing around in front of us all. I, for one, found this hilarious, though Hedge did not share my enthusiasm, instead reeling in terror, which I guess is the appropriate response for when someone throws up in front of you.
Like in previous times when something terribly embarrassing happens, I wished the universe had opened up and swallowed me whole at that point. Because I was like, I'm feeling kind of ill, it's okay. Now I'm vomiting, just immediate, just like that. I'm just like, oh no, why has this happened? No, I know exactly why this has happened, but why did it have to happen like this?
Thinking fast, I went off to find some tissues to mop up the ever-widening puddle of sick. I ended up getting somewhat distracted by my own innate drunken urge to be a prat. The ticket person was in my way, so I snuck up behind them, Grinch style like this, I don't know why, before politely asking them to move aside for science! This spectacle amused some of the passengers, which was a welcome change to looks of disgust, so, I took it as it was, and I felt a bit like, hey, I'm funny, even though I wasn't, I was just a drunk. I fetched the tissues and returned to mop up the mess, with Alex looking somewhat embarrassed, of course, and Hedge looking visibly pale. Hedge alighted at the nearest opportunity, which was probably quite close to an actual stop. Everyone has their limits, I guess. To be fair, she was the window seat and you were sat next to her, so for a little while before you moved, she just couldn't get away. Just like,
Do not want to be partaking in this situation at all.
You were feeling a bit perkier following a post-vomit nap. So once we got back, it was time to carry on drinking, of course.
Good idea.
Completely ignoring all common sense, we decided just to keep drinking the Red K cider. We're imminently headed towards a really shit time. We both became extremely nauseous after a while, rushing toward the nearest vessel and ejecting what appeared to be a thick paste from our faces. I think we must have eaten as well at some point. You beat me to the toilet, so I was left heaving into the kitchen sink for what seemed like a constant 10-minute session of rather painful vomiting. It just was so awful.
Yeah. We'd managed to sort of scoff an awful lot of cookies, and then they came out of us almost immediately. So, yeah, that was good.
When you're drunk, you kind of just... You can't feel your belly expanding. You're just like, must have cookies, cookies. In between bursts of sick, I could hear the echoes of you loudly retching into the toilet bowl from across the house. Its shape producing an unpleasant cadence, which made my own nausea resurge. Oh, I've got a prop. It was kind of like... just like... And just hearing the sloshing chunks of cookies flying out of your face. I was like, nope. I spent quite a while trying to... prod all the bits of sick down your plug hole. Suffice it to say, our night came to an end shortly after that, with us both passing out through vomit exhaustion, the world still rather violently spinning as we lapsed into unconsciousness. The following morning mostly consisted of us feeling sorry for ourselves, but you remedied this with a shitload of bacon and freshly squeezed orange juice, which is really tasty.
Yeah.
Making a huge gravy jug full of... That's how you serve orange juice, in a gravy jug. It wasn't quite a... This was just the ticket, seeing us return to our barely functioning selves before long. In summary, if you're going to have an all-day session, don't end it with more booze and eating and then more booze, lest you wish for a sink redecoration operation. However, as far as we can tell, Hedge made it home without incident and definitely didn't throw up everywhere. So at least one of us was sensible.
I had completely forgotten about the orange juice the next day.
Yeah, it was delicious. You're good at doing breakfast. Like, I think it was like 12 rashers of bacon. It's like, yeah, this will do us. And then we just shoved it all in a sandwich. Brown bread is nicer bread than that fucking mash tun thing. It was just the driest. I remember it being so dry. I forgot to mention. They didn't put any mayo, or any lubrication on the buns. So it was just dry bun, lettuce, cheese, burger, dry bun. They clearly made this in a rush because they've only just opened their kitchen. We want food. We're hungry.
Where's my burrito?
Where's my spy camera? No, you can't eat a spy camera.
I imagine there's some spy gear that's been made so it is edible. I'm going to spy on my own internal organs with this camera.
Speaking of spying on things, I spy much clutter in your room.
Isn't there always much clutter?
Time to justify it.
It's the time that Sam gets me to talk about shit.
This disc.
No, thank you. So that's an unusual item to use as a coaster.
So what it is a hard drive platter. So this once was spinning inside of a little box inside of a computer. When the hard drives die, I tend to take them apart, take the magnets out because they're nice strong magnets. Those rulers, they're hard drive magnets screwed to the wall that hold them on the wall.
So you repurposed a knackered hard drive. Nice.
Yeah. So, and the other thing I also repurpose are the platters and turn them into coasters. As soon as you open a hard drive, it's never going to work again unless you open it in a clean room. I don't have a clean room, evidently. So just take the platters out and turn them into coasters. I've given away various stacks of these to people because I've trashed hard drives over the years. I want to get some of the really old hard drives that have rusty brown platters because they look quite interesting as well.
That rusty venture aesthetic.
So that's one of many, many coasters I've made out of a hard drive.
Well, that's incredibly resourceful and useful. I think people should learn a lesson from Alex, upcycling things that are knackered into things that are not knackered, such as things to hold your measuring devices on the wall and to hold your delicious Beppis fizzy burp juice. See, there we go. And to drop on the floor occasionally.
Make clanging noises.
Well, that was a really nice piece of clutter that you justified there, Alex. I think that I actually want one of those. Do you have any spares?
I haven't got any hard drives hanging around. These are from 3.5-inch drives. I haven't got any more of them. I did have a couple that I harvested out of a NAS drive or something, and they were still good, so I just gave them away. It's not too hard to take them apart if you have them. I just don't have any more hard drives because all my machines use solid state drives now, and I do have some laptop drives. The platters are much smaller. They don't end up being very good coasters.
Shot glass coasters or espresso coasters.
Yeah, as you can tell from this one, they get really dirty really, really easily because they're mirror finished. Like you can see, the cheapest designed hard drives for their capacity will have a single platter. There's fewer parts inside. You don't need so many read-write heads. You don't need so many platters. So it's just that some hard drives will just be one, but then other ones might be, I think I've seen 8, but a full height is literally, the drive is like this. A conventional 3.5-inch drive will maybe have 3.
Half hog.
Seizing only half the hog.
I'm on a diet, 50% hog only for me, thank you.
I don't really want to go to eBay and buy some broken hard drives. It seems a little perverse.
I only suggested it if you had some lying around. I don't want you to add to your clutter just to get some discs out for my benefit, so don't worry about it.
After my recent fixing spree, I went fucking ham on buying more broken things.
This is why you will always live in an endless mountain of clutter, because as soon as you get rid of some things, you're just like, I couldn't even speak. Get rid of some things.
Down here are various speakers in various states of working. Do you know what I need? I need a shop speaker for testing things. So I bought a singular powered speaker, which I got for cheap, and they said it was working. It doesn't work. So I'm like, okay, I guess that goes on the pile to be fixed. I also bought another pair of studio monitor things that don't work, and I think I've narrowed it down to the Transformers dead.
Yeah, it only doesn't work yet. You can always make things work.
For that pair, I've bought another broken one, which will have, I'm hoping, a working transformer that I'll be able to... What's that one broken? I don't know if that one's meant to be broken. I'm hoping that one's got the working transformer I could just transplant in.
Alex is the Dr. Frankenstein of fixing speakers that just get the fucked bits from those ones and chuck them away and make this whole new hybrid of a speaker that does work.
If you've got two broken things but they're broken differently, just cannibalize one to get the other one working. So how do I fucking segue from me blathering on about Frankensteining things? Like many Metallica albums, Young Ham asks a question that should not be. If forced, which parent would you choose to give you a lap dance? Bearing in mind, they have to keep going until you become fully erect.
Jesus Christ. What? Aha! Aha! He never specifies whose parents. So they don't have to be our own.
He said, which parent? So, parent.
There are half of the population of the world, give or take, probably are parents. Probably more than that. I don't know. Like, do the maths. But a lot of people are parents. There are a lot of parents out there. That means there are a lot of people that you would prefer to have a lap dance from that are just so incidentally a parent. With that in mind, who would you like to give you a lap dance? He happens to have like a bunch of children or whatever it was.
A pile, 9 to 10, amalgamated into a slurry. Well, if we're going to choose a parent, I guess this widens it up and makes it nice and easy. Let's just say, I wouldn't mind Katy Perry doing it.
I don't know enough about Katy Perry to allow her to sit on my lap. There's a running joke between her fiance and her. Every time Aubrey Plaza's on the screen, it's like, oh, look, there's your girlfriend. It's like, but I don't think she's got a kid. But she would be who I'd choose if she had a kid.
I see the appeal.
But maybe, just to be completely OP about it, Sigourney Weaver. Because, goddamn, like, go for it, whatever, and it would only take 3 seconds before I became fully erect, so it wouldn't even be that long a lap dance. It'd be like, yep.
And we're done here.
So there you go. We've got Katy Perry and Sigourney Weaver. Not what you wanted us to answer it like, I assume, you disgusting fuck. In fact, how about I get your mum, young ham, to sit on my lap until that happens? How does it feel, having the tables turned? Maybe he's got a secret crush on my mum. So there you go, young ham. Fuck you and your silly question. We have
up yours.
Up yours indeed. And thank you very much, everyone. But up yours, we're finishing the show for this week. I'm sweating so much.
So now that Sam is sweating like he's going to Mapoli,
you can find Always an Adventure on YouTube to see us writhing awkwardly in my fucking light flickering. Oh my god. I have no!
Distant sounds of Darude.
Okay, we're near the end. Come on. I'm going to have to get a new light anyway. You can find Always an Adventure on YouTube to see us writhing awkwardly. Or Spotify, where you can hear us writhing awkwardly.
It's like some combination of ASMR and mukbang.
Mukbang!
Yeah, eating McDonald's really disgustingly.
If you head over to Twitter, at triple underscore, fucking hell, you go nowhere. In fact, if you went to Jesus Christ, fuck you, Sam.
It's triple underscore, but it's spelt out phonetically, so it says triple underscore. Not an underscore, not 3 underscores.
I'm running out of. Come on, Sam. It's the final fucking leg.
You've got to peak floundering. Should I try and also mess it up?
Please.
If you head over to, I could see you. If you head over to Twitter at AAA underscore Alex Sam, you will likely bear witness. I can't hold it together.
You did a better job than me because you got further into the sentence.
I want the pig pie!
No pinking!
This is the longest admin read I've ever. I've spat on my microphone. It's all gone wrong. My light keeps fucking flickering. Oh, that's really hot. Why is it so hot? If you head over to Twitter, what Alex said, you will likely bear witness to everything that's wrong with Twitter. Whilst you're there, why not tweet us a question to feature on our next episode? Facebook is also an option, but I don't look at it much. I mean, I'm looking at it a bit more because we got asked the longest question we've ever been asked, which will be included in a future episode. My fucking God. Thank you, everyone. Help me. This light is not working! Thank you, everyone who submitted questions this week. I'm sorry I'm providing some kind of disco right now. Oh no, you emote. Right, that's it. I've fucking done. That took forever to do. So we will see you next time for some more. And Alex laughing over me.
It's just a light, just like, you're not doing this piece. You're not doing this. You're not allowed.
Go on then. Tell everyone to.
Take care. Take care. Take care.
Horrendous sample-based monstrosity with the generic beat under. Some sort of horrendous sample-based monstrosity with the generic beat under.
Jesus fucking Christ.